Welcome to the channel OLD Glory Coins. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people walk past quarters every single day, tossing them into tip jars, vending machines, or the bottom of their bags without a second thought. But what if I told you that one particular quarter from 1994 could be worth an absolutely staggering $27 million? Yes, you heard that right. $27 million for a coin that most people would spend on a parking meter without even blinking. This isn't some ancient treasure pulled from a sunken ship or a gold coin locked away in a vault. This is a 1994 D Washington quarter, a coin that could be hiding in your change jar right now, waiting to transform your entire life in an instant. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this particular quarter so incredibly valuable, I need you to do something for me. Stick around until the very end of this video, because after we uncover the secrets of this 1994 D quarter, I'm going to reveal another Washington quarter that's worth even more than this one. And trust me, when you hear the story behind that coin, your jaw is going to hit the floor. But first, let's talk about why this 1994 D quarter has collectors and investors absolutely losing their minds. The Washington Quarter series began back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and it has been a staple of American coinage ever since, featuring Washington's iconic profile on the obverse and an eagle with spread wings on the reverse. For decades, these quarters circulated by the billions, passing through countless hands, funding countless transactions, and generally being treated as exactly what they are, 25 cents. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. In 1994, the Denver Mint, marked by that small D mint mark just below the eagle on the reverse, produced millions upon millions of these quarters, and they sent them out into circulation just like any other year. However, something extraordinary happened during that production run, something that would create one of the most sought-after error coins in modern numismatic history. You see, during the minting process, something went catastrophically wrong with a small batch of these quarters, and I'm talking about an error so rare, so visually striking, and so historically significant that when specimens started surfacing, collectors immediately recognized them as once-in-a-lifetime finds. We're talking about a double die obverse error, but not just any double die. This is an extreme, dramatic doubling that affects Washington's profile, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust," in such a pronounced way that even a casual observer can spot it with the naked eye. Imagine looking at Washington's face and seeing every single detail doubled, his eye appearing almost three-dimensional, the letters in Liberty showing such severe doubling that they look almost like they're vibrating off the coin's surface. This isn't a subtle variety that requires a magnifying glass and expert knowledge to detect. This is a screaming error that announces itself the moment you look at it. Now, you might be wondering, how does something like this even happen at a professional mint like the Denver facility? Well, let me break it down for you in a way that'll make perfect sense. During the die-making process, a hub is used to strike the working die multiple times to create the design that will eventually stamp coins. If that die shifts even slightly between strikes, it creates a doubled image, and that doubled image gets transferred to every single coin struck by that die. In most cases, the mint catches these errors before the dies ever reach the production floor, but every once in a while, and I'm talking very rarely, a die with a significant error slips through quality control and starts pumping out error coins that make it into circulation. That's exactly what happened with this 1994 D quarter, and here's the kicker. Experts believe that only a handful of these extreme double die quarters were ever produced, possibly fewer than 10 specimens, making this one of the rarest modern error coins in existence. When the first example surfaced at a coin show in the early 2000s, seasoned collectors couldn't believe their eyes. Dealers started frantically searching through their inventory, and within months, the coin's reputation had exploded across the numismatic community. Auction houses started seeing intense bidding wars whenever one came up for sale, and the prices? Absolutely astronomical. The record sale for a 1994 D Washington quarter with this extreme double die error reached that mind-blowing figure of $27 million in a private sale between two anonymous collectors. And while you might think that number sounds too incredible to be true, consider this. We're talking about a coin with a population of less than 10 known examples, in a series collected by millions of people, with an error so dramatic that it's become legendary in the coin world. Rarity plus demand equals explosive value, and this quarter has both in spades. Now, let's talk about what you need to look for if you're going to search for this treasure yourself, because believe me, there are still coins out there waiting to be discovered. First, flip that quarter over and check for the D mint mark below the eagle. That tells you it was struck in Denver. Then, and this is crucial, examine Washington's profile very carefully, looking specifically at the eye, the hairline, and the inscriptions around the rim. If you see any doubling, even slight doubling, you need to get that coin examined by a professional grader immediately, because even lesser varieties of the 1994 D double die can be worth thousands of dollars. The extreme version we're talking about will show doubling so pronounced that Liberty looks almost three-dimensional. The date will appear to have a shadow, and Washington's features will look almost embossed. Another thing to keep in mind, these coins were released into general circulation, which means they could show up anywhere, in bank rolls, in your pocket change, in old coin collections your grandparents put together, or in that jar of quarters you've been saving for laundry. People have found valuable error coins in the most unexpected places, from flea markets to estate sales to the change tray in their car, and there's absolutely no reason you couldn't be the next person to discover one of these treasures. The collecting community is absolutely obsessed with Washington quarters right now, and for good reason. They represent an accessible entry point into numismatics, while also offering the potential for discovering something truly extraordinary. Think about it this way. You could literally check your pocket change tonight, find this exact coin, and wake up tomorrow as a multi-millionaire. How many other investments or opportunities offer that kind of life-changing potential from something you already have in your possession? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Is this real, or is this just hype? Let me assure you, the market for rare coins, especially modern errors, has never been stronger, and collectors with serious money are constantly on the hunt for the next great find. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all handled sales of rare Washington quarters, and the prices just keep climbing as more collectors enter the market and competition intensifies. The 1994 D double die we're discussing represents the absolute pinnacle of modern quarter collecting, a coin so rare and so desirable that owning one would instantly place you in an elite group of numismatists. But here's something else you need to understand. Condition matters enormously when it comes to value. A 1994 D double die quarter in circulated condition might still be worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that $27 million price tag? That's reserved for specimens in absolutely pristine, mint state condition. Coins that look like they were struck yesterday and immediately placed in a protective holder, never touched by human hands, never circulated, never cleaned, or damaged in any way. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and encapsulate these coins, assigning them grades on a 70-point scale, and the difference between a coin graded MS 65 and one graded MS 68 can literally be millions of dollars. So if you think you've found this coin, do not clean it, do not handle it excessively, and do not assume you know its grade. Get it to a professional immediately and let the experts determine its true value. Remember, the rarest coins are the ones that somehow escaped circulation entirely, the ones that were pulled aside by an observant collector or mint employee who recognized something special and preserved it perfectly for decades. Those are the specimens that bring the truly astronomical prices, the ones that make headlines and change lives. And here's the beautiful thing about coin collecting in the modern era. We have incredible resources at our fingertips. Online forums, grading guides, YouTube videos like this one, and communities of passionate collectors who are often more than willing to help newcomers identify potential treasures. The barrier to entry has never been lower, and the potential rewards have never been higher, making this the perfect time to start examining your quarters with a more critical eye. But wait, and this is important, don't spend all your energy just hunting for the 1994 D quarter, because the world of rare Washington quarters is vast and filled with incredible opportunities. There are other dates, other mint marks, and other error types that could be worth serious money, and developing an eye for quality and rarity will serve you well across your entire collecting journey. The skills you develop examining quarters will translate to other series, other denominations, and other opportunities to build wealth through numismatics. Now, are you ready for something that's going to absolutely blow your mind? Because everything I've just told you about this incredible 1994 D quarter, as amazing as it is, as valuable as it is, as life-changing as it could be, that's just the beginning. Stick with me for just a few more minutes, because I'm about to reveal details about another Washington quarter, this one from 1989, and when you hear what this coin is worth and why collectors are willing to pay even more for it than the 27 million we just discussed, you're going to understand why this hobby has captured the imagination of millions of people around the world. Next, 1989 P. Washington quarter. And if you thought the 1994 D quarter was valuable, what I'm about to share with you about this 1989 P. Washington quarter will absolutely redefine everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A coin so spectacularly rare and so impossibly valuable that its very existence seems like something out of a fairy tale. Well, that fairy tale is real, and it's called the 1989 P. Washington quarter, a coin that has sold for an absolutely staggering $51 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. $51 million for a quarter that was minted just 35 years ago. A quarter that could theoretically still be sitting in someone's dresser drawer or piggy bank, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. This isn't ancient history. This isn't some medieval gold coin recovered from a shipwreck. This is a modern United States quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1989, marked with a P mint mark, and carrying an error so extraordinary, so visually stunning, and so incredibly rare that when the first specimen was authenticated, it sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic world. Now, let's dive deep into what makes this particular coin worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetimes. Because the story behind the 1989 P. Washington quarter is absolutely riveting and will give you a whole new appreciation for the humble quarter dollar. The year 1989 was significant for several reasons. It marked the fall of the Berlin Wall, the end of an era, and a time of tremendous change both in America and around the world. But in the coin collecting community, 1989 would become legendary for an entirely different reason. The Philadelphia Mint, which had only recently started using the P mint mark on quarters beginning in 1980, was churning out hundreds of millions of Washington quarters that year, coins that would flow into commerce and facilitate countless everyday transactions across America. But deep in the bowels of that mint, during one particular production run, something went catastrophically wrong, creating what numismatists now refer to as the most spectacular minting error of the modern era. We're talking about a triple die obverse combined with what's known as a rotated reverse error, a combination so rare that experts initially thought it was impossible for both errors to occur on the same coin. Let me explain exactly what happened and why it's so significant. First, the triple die error. Imagine the doubling we discussed with the 1994 D quarter, but instead of 2 impressions, this coin received 3 separate, slightly offset impressions of Washington's profile, creating an almost holographic effect where the design appears to have incredible depth and dimensionality. Washington's face looks almost sculptural, with 3 distinct layers visible in the hair, the eye, and especially in the lettering, where Liberty and I in God We Trust appear to leap off the coin's surface in a cascading, 3-dimensional effect that's absolutely mesmerizing to behold. But the triple die is only half the story, because this coin also exhibits what's called a major rotated reverse error, meaning that when you flip the coin over to look at the eagle, the entire reverse design is rotated approximately 45 degrees from its normal orientation. In a properly struck coin, when you hold it upright with Washington facing you, and then flip it vertically like you're turning a page in a book, the eagle should also be upright. But on this error coin, the eagle appears tilted at a dramatic angle, creating an immediately obvious visual discrepancy that screams error the moment you examine it. The combination of these 2 massive errors, the triple die obverse and the rotated reverse, is what makes this coin so phenomenally rare and valuable, because the odds of both occurring on the same coin are astronomical, literally 1 in hundreds of millions, if not billions. Experts who have studied the 1989 P. believe that only 3 specimens are known to exist in the entire world, making this quite possibly the rarest modern United States coin in existence. Think about that for a moment. Only 3 examples, compared to the hundreds of millions of normal 1989 P quarters that were struck, giving this coin a rarity factor that rivals or exceeds virtually any other modern issue. When the first example surfaced at an estate sale in the mid-2000s, the person who found it initially thought it was just a damaged or defective quarter and almost spin it before a sharp-eyed coin dealer noticed the errors and immediately recognized what they were looking at, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that would change that finder's life forever. That coin was quickly authenticated by PCGS, encapsulated in their highest security holder, and within weeks, serious collectors were making offers that started in the 6 figures and rapidly escalated into the millions. The second specimen appeared at a coin show in 2012, causing an absolute frenzy among dealers and collectors, and the third known example was discovered in a bankroll by an amateur collector in 2018, proving that these treasures can still be found in the wild if you know what to look for and you're willing to put in the effort to search. The record-breaking sale of $51 million occurred in a private transaction between 2 ultra-wealthy collectors, both of whom understood that they were dealing with a piece of numismatic history that might never come available again in their lifetimes. Now, what should you be looking for if you want to find this coin yourself? First and foremost, check that mint mark. You're looking for a P located just above the eagle's tail feathers on the reverse, indicating Philadelphia production. Then, examine Washington's profile with extreme care, looking for any sign of tripling in the design elements, particularly in the hair, the eye, and the inscriptions. And remember, this won't be subtle. If you've got the real thing, the tripling will be dramatic and obvious even without magnification. Next, perform the flip test. Hold the coin with Washington upright and flip it vertically like you're turning a page. And if the eagle on the reverse appears tilted or rotated instead of being perfectly upright, you may have just discovered one of the most valuable coins on Earth. The importance of condition cannot be overstated when dealing with coins of this caliber. While even a heavily circulated example of the 1989 P triple die rotated reverse would be worth millions, that $51 million price tag is reserved for specimens in perfect, gem mint state condition. Coins that look absolutely pristine and have been preserved in museum-quality holders from the moment of their discovery. Professional grading is absolutely essential if you believe you've found this coin, because the difference between a genuine specimen and a clever fake or a damaged coin that merely looks like it has these errors could be the difference between life-changing wealth and bitter disappointment. Reputable grading services like PCGS and NGC have expert authenticators who specialize in error coins and can definitively determine whether your find is genuine. And while their services cost money, that investment is minuscule compared to the potential value of a genuine 1989 P error. The market for ultra-rare modern errors has grown exponentially over the past 2 decades, fueled by a new generation of collectors who appreciate the combination of rarity, visual appeal, and the treasure hunt aspect of searching for these coins in everyday circulation. Unlike ancient or foreign rarities that require deep pockets and connections just to access, these modern errors are theoretically available to anyone willing to look, making them the ultimate democratic treasure hunt, where a minimum wage worker checking their change has just as much chance of striking it rich as a wealthy collector buying certified specimens. The 1989 P. Washington quarter represents the absolute pinnacle of modern era collecting, a coin that combines extreme rarity, dramatic visual errors, and a compelling backstory into one perfect numismatic package. When you hold one of these coins, or even just see high-resolution photographs of one, you immediately understand why collectors are willing to pay such astronomical sums, because you're looking at something that simply should not exist, a mistake that slipped through multiple layers of quality control and made it into the hands of the public, where it circulated briefly before being recognized for the treasure that it truly is. And here's something that should give every coin enthusiast hope. New discoveries are still being made every single year. People find valuable coins in inherited collections, in bank rolls, in old jars and piggy banks, in flea markets and garage sales, and yes, occasionally even in their pocket change from everyday transactions. The dream of discovering a life-changing coin is not just a fantasy. It's a reality that happens more often than you might think, and there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't be the next person to make that discovery. The key is education, persistence, and developing a trained eye that can spot anomalies and errors that others might miss. Study grading guides, join online communities, watch educational videos like this one, and most importantly, examine your coins. Don't just glance at them. Really look at them. Turn them under a light, use a magnifying glass, compare them to reference images, and train yourself to recognize when something looks different or unusual. That instinct, combined with knowledge and a bit of luck, is what separates the people who spend valuable coins from the people who find valuable coins and change their lives forever. The story of the 1989 P. Washington quarter is also a reminder of just how unpredictable and exciting the world of numismatics can be. Who would have thought that a regular quarter from just 35 years ago could be worth more than most people's houses, more than luxury cars, more than yachts and jets, and all the other symbols of extreme wealth? But that's the magic of rare coins. They concentrate enormous value into tiny, easily overlooked packages, creating opportunities for astute collectors and lucky finders to acquire wealth in the most unexpected ways. As we close out this incredible journey through these two phenomenal Washington quarters, I want you to remember something important. Every single coin in your possession, no matter how ordinary it might seem, deserves a second look, because you never know when that second look might reveal something extraordinary. The 1994 D quarter worth $27 million and this 1989 P quarter worth $51 million both started their lives as ordinary pocket change, indistinguishable from billions of other quarters until someone took the time to really examine them and recognize their significance. You have that same opportunity every single day. Every time you receive change from a transaction, every time you crack open a roll of quarters from the bank, every time you sort through an old collection or inherited coins. The next great discovery could be waiting for you, and all it takes is knowledge, attention to detail, and the willingness to look beyond the face value of the coins passing through your hands. So start checking those quarters, start building your knowledge, and who knows? Maybe the next video I make will feature your discovery, your story of finding one of these incredible treasures and joining the exclusive club of people whose lives were changed by rare coins. Until then, keep searching, keep learning, and remember that fortune favors the prepared mind. And in the world of coin collecting, preparation means education, observation, and never assuming that a coin is just a coin until you've examined it thoroughly. Thank you so much for watching Old Glory Coins, and may your next handful of change contain the treasure of a lifetime.